Welcome to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? Success in business most often comes down to hard work, not by silver bullets and quick fixes. It's knowing where to focus that hard work that's key to winning. Join sales prospecting expert and 3-time seven-figure business founder Carrie Richardson and managing partner of R&R Consulting and former owner of Doberman Technologies, Ian Richardson, for radical honesty regarding strategic planning, accountability, and execution that will get you the systematic results you're working toward. Let's get into today's episode. Thought leader and your host, Carrie Richardson.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carrie Richardson, and I am the host of the WIN podcast. With me today is Jennifer Roy, who is the CEO of Nucleus Networks in Vancouver, Canada. Jennifer, thanks so much for joining us today. We're talking about planning for events like PAX 8 Beyond as an MSP, and I'm hoping to give people advice on how they would go about getting the attention of an MSP like Nucleus. Tell us a little bit about your history with Nucleus, the business, and then we'll move on to how would someone get Jennifer's attention at PAX 8 Beyond.
Sounds great. So I joined Nucleus back in 2001 as the Chief Operating Officer and then took over as CEO in January of 2024. So I've been with Nucleus for about 4 years, been in the space for about 14 years, but fairly new to Nucleus. As you mentioned, our head office is in Vancouver, but we service all across Canada with offices in Vancouver, Victoria, Prince George, Calgary, Edmonton, and Toronto. We are part of the Lyra Group. Lyra is our midco that oversees about 85 MSPs under their umbrella. So fairly large ecosystem of managed service providers. From my perspective, I've got this enormous peer group of people I can learn from, and including the executives and team at Lyra.
You joined Nucleus in 2021 and you became CEO in 2024. What was that transition like?
Our previous CEO, Martin DeRossi, he had led Nucleus for a decade. I know you're very familiar with Martin. So big shoes to fill when I took over in January of 2024. I had worked really closely with Martin up until the transition. I'm still today learning, 15 months later, still learning new parts of the company that I hadn't been a part of before. So it's been exciting. It's been a lot of hard work, but I like hard work. So it's been good.
Now, Lyra's growth trajectory has been impressive, but Nucleus's growth trajectory has also been impressive. So how are you maintaining that organic growth cycle? You said, I can't remember the exact numbers, but double-digit growth 3 years in a row.
Yes. Yeah, I think actually it's been even longer with double-digit growth. So very successful. I think a big piece of that is having the right partnerships, having the right team members. We have an incredible team here, a lot of 10 plus tenured employees and management team. I'm one of the most recent management team in our organization. So almost everybody has been here 10, 15 years. And that really helps us drive success. We focus a lot on maturity of the organization, processes, documentation. So that has really helped with our growth plans as well. And again, strategic partnerships like PAX 8 is a really big piece of our growth.
For people who haven't met Jennifer, you've probably met or interacted with or seen posts from Carl Fulljames online, which brings me to the next question. When you're planning to attend an event like PAX 8 Beyond, how do you, Carl, and the rest of your team plan who's going to do what? What are your goals going into that event?
Right. He's incredible. I'm very grateful to have him on my team. So Carl and I have attended a fair amount of events together. And so what we typically do is divide and conquer for the sessions. So we look at the agenda, we go, okay, these ones are more technical. Carl, you're going to go to these ones. These ones are more operational or sales or marketing. Jen will go to these ones. So we try to divide and conquer and then share notes at the end of it. So usually you'll see us huddled at the airport or on the plane, kind of debriefing each other and sharing information. And in terms of the pavilion floors or the vendor floor, we try to be pretty strategic. We like to look at any booths where maybe we've never heard of a product or we've never explored it. So that first pass will be who's new, who do we want to see? We also do a gap analysis before we go. Maybe there's vendors we're looking to replace, or maybe there's a need that we've identified and we need to have a new strategic partner. So our top priorities is who's new and what is our current need and who can help fill those needs.
What specifically do you look for when it comes to interaction at the event? How do you like someone to approach you? What will catch your attention and keep you for 5 or 10 minutes versus what are the things that you're like, absolutely not?
The more fun booths will tend to get our attention. So if you have a booth where you've got a game or you've got something that is going to gauge interest, we're going to stop. Or if you have cool swag, I'm not going to lie, my team really loves swag. I'm not as big on swag, but they really love cool swag. So that might get us at the booth. To keep us at the booth for a longer period of time, you're going to need to have a quick pitch that's going to give us a high-level overview of what your product is and how it's actually going to impact my business. If you're just having us walk by and quickly scanning and you're just trying to get a huge number of people versus genuine interactions, the likelihood of me wanting to use your product or wanting to continue the conversation is minimal. So really looking for those quick, genuine connections that then will lead to further conversations.
And how do you like that further conversation to happen? How should someone interact with you after the event? What are the things that really stand out to you?
For me, email is usually my preferred method. I don't set any rules on my email. Everything comes into my inbox. So if you email me, I'm going to receive it. And if there's, again, a need and a genuine reason for me to reach out to you, I'll respond and book time for a demo. I know a lot of people go to phone calls. I'm okay with phone calls. I always ask people to be respectful of the fact I'm in Pacific time zone. The amount of times I get a 5 a.m. phone call from a vendor, and that's so off-putting. I might be awake at 5 a.m., but I'm not ready to talk business or be sold to at 5 a.m. So I always prefer an email and then schedule a time with me for a phone call. I try to be kind, but I work in technology. I answer my phone almost all the time. So if you call me at 5 a.m., the chances of me answering are higher. I try to just start calling people out and saying, hey, it's 5 a.m. This is not a good time. You're not going to get a well-received response from me now. Why don't you try calling me in a few hours? Or better yet, email me and we can have a conversation. I often will get vendors that call me that can't service Canada. And I'll say, I don't operate in the US. And they'll continue to have me on a slow drip email or a phone call every couple of days because they haven't booked a meeting. And those are, again, off-putting for that particular vendor to not know their audience and not know who they're contacting.
So if Nucleus is sponsoring an event themselves versus attending an event, what's your usual approach to follow up?
I look for the relationship. Who has a relationship with that prospect or a client? So if we're, let's say, doing a client appreciation event, who has the best relationship with that client? And then I ask everyone to be very strategic for your clients. Do they prefer phone calls? Do they prefer emails? Do they prefer a text, a Teams message? Whatever their method of communication is, how we should send that invite. We send out regular updates to our client through newsletters and blog posts. All of that's done through email. But for the most part, I think it's really important we meet clients where they're at. What is their preferred method? And we actually document that as well. So we know what our preferred method is for each of our clients.
So are you a go-to coffee and breakfast person, or are you a stay out late and go to the party person, or are you both?
I am definitely coffee and breakfast. I am usually the first one back in my room at these events. I'm an early riser, so I'm not out late usually at events. So Carl, you might find him on both sides, but usually I'm just at breakfast.
And is there a session in particular that you're looking forward to at PAX 8 this year?
I'm looking forward to quite a few of the sessions. I'm actually on a couple of the panels at Beyond this year. I'm obviously looking forward to participating in those panels. And then I'm looking forward to the keynote. Usually the keynotes are always incredible, the different announcements that are going to come through. And a big piece for me at conferences is the networking. I find some of the most value in connecting with my peers in the industry, connecting with different partners. That's usually what I look forward to the very most on these events, is those genuine connections.
Tell me about the panels that you're participating in at PAX 8. What are the topics and where can people find them if they want to see you?
So on Sunday, I will be part of the Women in Tech panel. That is Sunday afternoon. I think it's at 5 o'clock. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 5
That's
o'clock.
a power panel. That's going to be a good one. I wouldn't miss that one.
I am very excited. And then I'll also be part of the PAX 8 Premier Sports Marketing panel with Lee from PAX 8. So looking forward to that one as well. Nucleus was fortunate enough to work with PAX 8 to do an initiative with the Abbotsford Farm team for Vancouver Canucks. We've got our logo on the ice and we've been working with PAX 8 on a co-branded marketing initiative. So I'll be joining their panel to talk about how that's benefited our business.
Wow, that's a pretty big sponsorship.
Incredible. It's been great.
Who else is undertaking large sports marketing initiatives right now in the channel?
There's 3 of us on the panel. It's me, Lisa Williams from Microsoft. Dion McMillian is also on the panel. So it's the 3 of us on the panel. And then Carrie Schiff will be the one who is...
Oh.
Yeah, so it's the CPO is Dion. So Dion is on the panel.
And then Carrie Schiff,
she's moderating it.
How far in advance do you make plans for things like dinners with vendors? How booked is your dance card by the time you hit the floor?
So typically it's pretty full by the time I arrive, but I would say it's hit and miss. And I always find it funny who invites me out and who doesn't invite me out. And again, I'm not the one staying late at the party, so I will often decline if someone is asking, hey, do you want to meet for cocktails at 10 p.m.? I don't drink alcohol, so at 10 p.m. cocktail hour, I'll say, Carl, do you want to go for a scotch? And I'll have a coffee. But for the most part, I'll decline those ones. So I would say usually I'm pretty booked. By the time I arrive at the conference, my calendar is going to be pretty stacked.
So how far in advance should somebody be connecting with you before a major event like PAX 8 Beyond or IT Nation if they want to be assured that you'll be able to join them for a meal or a coffee?
A week or 2. I'm starting to get my calendar fairly full right now for Beyond, and we're, 10 days out? A week or 2 is adequate.
We already got to you, so we're good.
Yes, we've got something in the calendar.
You only have so much time as a vendor as well, so you have to be really strategic. I want to invest time in my friends and peers who I don't see very often, high value prospects that maybe we haven't connected with in person, and don't want to neglect my current clients for the sake of attracting new clients.
Absolutely. I can definitely appreciate that. I never take it to heart when an existing vendor maybe doesn't invite me out to dinner or whatnot. And I know that they've had a dinner, because I understand, first of all, that it is strategic and I have lots of touch points with them. In addition, on the flip side, my calendar is usually pretty full and there may be strategic partnerships I want to explore. So if I have competing invites, it might make more sense for me to go with a new strategic partner versus an existing one. It's definitely a balance. This will be my first Beyond. I've been at the last couple of IT Nations.
So previous large events that you've attended, what's really stuck out for you?
Let me think. At IT Nation, ThreatLocker gave away a Hummer that for sure had a lot of people talking. Obviously, those big grand gestures are not for everybody, and nor does everyone have a budget for a big, huge grand gesture like that. But I like the idea of stuff that's unique. I think at IT Nation, there was someone with a basketball hoop at their booth. And I was traveling with my crew that really enjoys basketball. They had fun. They made silly videos. Having something at your booth that's going to get people to be interested to stop by is always going to win. Having a conversation starter that maybe has nothing to do with your business is just going to gauge interest and get people to be curious of why you have a Hummer outside of your booth or why you have a basketball net. Keep it interesting.
Are you usually one to book a demo on the floor for a later time?
Yes, I will often book a demo because my calendar fills really quickly. I'd rather just do it. I'm usually booking a couple of weeks out, and I'd rather book while I'm there, get it in the calendar, get it scheduled. And then I know that it's on the books, it's done, and I can cross that kind of off my to-do list. Whereas once I get home and then I'm back in the rhythm of meetings and strategy and building my business, I don't necessarily always have that time to go back. Whereas I've invested the time in the conference I'm at, I'd rather just book the demo on site.
Right. That was super helpful. I hope that everybody listening that's getting ready for PAX 8 Beyond got a lot of wisdom from your share, advice on how to prioritize follow-ups and engage with MSPs effectively is always valuable to the community. And I thank you very much for spending a little time with us today.
Thanks so much, Carrie. I look forward to seeing you in 10 days.
Yeah, we'll be by the pool.
Amazing.
You've been listening to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? We're so glad you've joined us and know you're one step closer to winning big in your business too. We'd love to connect with you outside of the show. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to connect@rnr.consulting. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you'll easily know when new episodes are available. Until next time, you can win, and we're here to help.